Recently, heavy rains combined with hydroelectric dam discharges have caused severe flooding in China. Many dams broke, and water flooded into cities, washing away numerous villages, houses, properties, and crops, causing extensive damage. A flash flood broke out in Xi'an County, Yan'an, Shaanxi province. Videos show that after the flash flood, hundreds of cars were piled up into a small hill. On the evening of the 8th, heavy rain hit Yan'an, Shaanxi. The city's sirens continued to sound, and fire trucks were urgently dispatched. It was reported that a dam had collapsed, but the news was not made public by the authorities. Zhejiang and Wuqi counties were severely affected, and some cars were washed away by the flood. On the 9th, residents of Fu County, Yan'an, Shaanxi, revealed that the Beiluo River, a tributary of the Yellow River, had surged and destroyed farmland. According to mainland media reports, from 8 p.m. on August 8 to 5 a.m. on August 9th, Zhejiang County, Yan'an, suffered from heavy rainstorms and localized torrential downpours. The average rainfall in the county reached 124.8 millimeters, and the maximum rainfall broke historical records, reaching 179.1 millimeters. Nearby merchants said that the rain fell fast and fiercely that night, as if a hole had opened in the sky. The rainstorm triggered a flash flood, with mud and water reaching about 2 meters deep, making it impossible for people to walk through. Videos circulated on the internet show that the flash flood was turbulent, washing many private cars onto the streets. After the flood, a large number of cars were piled up on the street, especially at an intersection in a low-lying area of Chenghuang-Miaogu. Hundreds of vehicles were piled up in the water, forming a small hill. The scene was devastating. Netizens commented that floods under the rule of the Chinese Communist Party have always been natural disasters plus man-made disasters. The reason for the flash floods in Chenghuang-Miaogu is that buildings were constructed in places where they should not be built. The most obvious example is that the wetlands around the lake were filled in and encroached upon, leaving the floods with nowhere to go. Another netizen agreed, saying, "The places with gully in their names on the Los Plateau were originally channels for mudslides." According to mainland media, communication, water, electricity, gas, and other facilities in Xi'an County were destroyed. However, the Chinese Communist Party has not yet reported casualties and related losses. Currently, precipitation in the eastern counties of Yan'an, the eastern counties of Hanzhong, the northern counties of Ankang, and the northern counties of Shanglo has exceeded 50 millimeters, and the rainfall is likely to continue. It is expected that rainfall in Yichuan County of Yan'an and Hanbin District of Ankang will exceed 50 millimeters in the next 3 hours. Ms. Zhang, a resident of Fu County, Yan'an, Shaanxi. The water flow upstream is too strong. The flood has passed through. The trees and bridges here have completely disappeared. The electric poles here have fallen. The cornfields in Zhangjiawan and Jiluo have all been washed away. Zhejiang and Wuqi should be the worst hit. A dam upstream has collapsed. In the early morning of the 9th, heavy rains hit Shijiazhuang, Baoding, Dingzhou, and other places in Hebei. Shijiazhuang citizens complained that traffic was blocked and the accumulated water was too smelly. Mr. Liu, a resident of Shijiazhuang, Hebei, Shijiazhuang has heavy rains, very heavy. The water is up to the knees. The water is all smelly, all sewer water, very smelly. On the 8th, heavy rains hit Yinchuan City, Shizuishan City, and other places in Ningxia. In Yinchuan City, many roads were seriously flooded. Local people revealed that many vehicles stalled and broke down in the water. People were still trapped until late at night waiting for rescue. A Yinchuan citizen, Zhang Sheng, pseudonym, said, "It rained in Yinchuan from morning to night. There was a lot of water accumulation. Some of the low-lying areas were as deep as my thighs. Many cars were submerged. There were also many cars flooded opposite the seafood market. The vehicles were stalled. Some people sat in the car for 4 to 6 hours. Some people couldn't open the doors on both sides and had to hold the skylight to breathe. Gansu's Qingyang, Pingliang, and other places have been hit by heavy rain for several days. On the 8th, Qingyang, Xi'an, and other areas were hit again. A citizen working at Kaishiku, Gangu County, Tianshui City cried at midnight, saying that the water was too deep to go home. Mrs. Wang, a resident of Gangu County, Tianshui City, Gansu Province, said, "Gangu County had a heavy rainstorm. Cars can't go to Kaishiku. All the cars are flooded. I really can't go back. What should I do? The water flow is very fast. It's up to my thighs. I will drown if I go out." Sales have plummeted, and international consumer goods corporations are shifting from China to India. India has become a new focus for PepsiCo, Unilever, and other consumer goods giants as China's economy continues to slump. These international companies are investing in the Indian market, hoping to compensate for the sluggish demand in China. India's economy is expanding at the fastest rate among major emerging markets. International companies are preparing to launch new flavors and packaging to meet India's diverse market and attract the country's large population, especially in its vast rural areas. The focus of companies in the past decade has been on selling to China, and the next decade will be selling to India. Brian Jacobson, chief economist at Annex Wealth Management, told Reuters. "You have to go where the population and the economy are favorable," he said. Major consumer goods companies headquartered in India, the world's most populous country, expect that increased government spending, a recovery in private consumption, and the anticipated recovery of rainfall during this year's monsoon season will boost consumer spending in the coming quarters. On the other hand, continued weak demand in China has become a drag on the performance of many European and American companies. Nestlé reported that total sales in Greater China fell in the latest quarter, and noted that the country's overall economy and consumer sentiment were significantly weaker than expected. Consumer confidence in China is quite weak, McDonald's chairman, CEO, and director Christopher Kempczynski said regarding second quarter results. "You can see that consumers are very focused on bargain hunting, both in our industry and in the broader consumer sector," he added. "Chinese consumers are price sensitive and will go wherever they can get a good deal." Starbucks reported a 14% drop in same-store sales in China in the quarter, ending June 30, far worse than the 2% drop in the U.S. revenue at its 7,306 stores in China, fell 11% during the same quarter. China has experienced a long and persistent COVID-19 pandemic, and even had a short period of negative growth, and after that, growth has been very slow, said K. Ramakrishnan, managing director for South Asia at Kantar World Panel. He noted that the situation is currently in serious decline. In contrast, he said, India's fast-moving consumer goods FMCG growth rate has remained around 4%, which indicates healthy growth. He added that both urban and rural areas in India have seen growth, with rural areas performing better. Coca-Cola's household penetration in India grew 24% in the 12 months leading up to June, while PepsiCo's grew 12.7%, Nestlé's grew 6.7%, and Reckitt Benckiser's grew about 3.8%, according to Kantar. Mondelez International, which is partnering with Lotus Biscoff to sell its products and plans to launch new packaging for Oreo cookies in August, reported mid-single-digit percentage growth in the chocolate category in India during the second quarter of this year. Coca-Cola also saw double-digit sales growth in India, while Unilever experienced sequential sales growth in the country. PepsiCo saw sales growth in Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia, and said India would be its primary space for growth. Foreign capital pulled out, wholesale markets are deserted, ByteDance's massive layoffs.
Foreign capital has been steadily pulling out. Despite China unilaterally lifting visa restrictions on several countries, it has not only failed to draw a surge of foreigners into the country but has also witnessed a gradual decline in the number of foreigners who were previously residing in the country. This might be causing genuine concern for Xi Jinping. In recent months, China has streamlined visa procedures for business travelers and tourists, reduced visa fees, and even introduced visa waivers for select countries. Additionally, China has maintained its favorable tax policies to make living in China more appealing for foreign nationals. Physical stores are empty, wholesale markets are deserted, and even live streaming platforms have no viewers. So where has everyone gone? Many Chinese colleagues in the industry, whether veterans or newcomers, have never experienced such a disastrous March in the year 2024. It's truly unprecedented. Consumer spending on the mainland is simply appalling. We've interviewed many friends in the clothing industry, and they all feel helpless and miserable. They call this March of 2024 the Dark March, a catastrophe never seen before in this century. Even during the pandemic, when people were confined to their homes, things weren't this bad. Even the traditionally slow months like July and August were better than now. Clearly, you can feel that there are problems in the market. In over a decade, the banks haven't faced a situation like this year's. Now, if you randomly ask someone on the street, they all feel that there's an issue with the current market. People are reluctant to spend money, malls are empty, and markets are constantly closing down. Many storefronts are vacant, and even when available, they struggle to find tenants. Where have all these consumers gone? Over the past couple of years, the crowded shopping scenes have become rare. It seems like many people aren't keen on shopping or spending money anymore. They save wherever they can, and when they do have money, they prefer to save it rather than spend it, especially as earning becomes more difficult. In the past, many middle-class individuals looked down on platforms like Pinduoduo and never bought anything from there. But now, many companies are rallying together privately, asking each other to help negotiate prices. Previously, many people found this distasteful, but now they not only accept it but also see it as a good thing. Many used to take taxis everywhere, but now they've gotten used to taking public transportation. On the surface, it seems like there's nobody left, but the real feeling is that people just don't have money anymore. The poor performance of businesses and large-scale layoffs in the internet industry directly translate to pay cuts. Now, in supermarkets, vegetables and fruits are no longer priced by the kilogram. From what I remember, watermelons used to be sold by weight. A few days ago, I saw watermelons in the supermarket priced at over 83 cents per kilogram. You heard that right, over 83 cents for a small watermelon, which is outrageous. Many people can't afford watermelons anymore. In mainland China, 674 is considered expensive. These middle-class individuals earn just over $691 a month, averaging only a little over $13 a day. Now, if you go to the market to buy things or dine out, $13 simply isn't enough. So, this is the current situation. This is the market situation after the resumption of work. Is it difficult or not? It's difficult, yet we still have to pay fees. Today, I haven't even made $26 in sales. What national style, what style? Aren't they all nonsense? No matter what style it is, it can't withstand the market. If the market isn't strong, even the wind won't help. It's useless. Can everyone understand this year's business? Isn't it supposed to get busier after the resumption of work? Why are there fewer and fewer people? Hey, I haven't experienced such a market in spring for over a decade. Usually, what I experience is the market where everyone is using Bluetooth to wake up. Now, things are unclear. But I believe people have to eat, and they have to wear clothes. This is essential. Clothing is definitely eternal. The industry cannot do without clothes. With so many people in China, fellow traders, have I given you enough encouragement? Now, we feel powerless. No matter how much we adjust or innovate, there are no customers. It's utterly disheartening. In the past, if sales were slow, we could change styles or adjust prices, and business would improve. But now, no matter what we do, there's no one buying. How can we manage in such a situation? Some may hear optimistic predictions and think things will improve in the summer, but the reality is harsh. Even when summer arrives, the situation will likely remain the same. Maybe things will slightly improve in the fall and winter, but the first half of this year is essentially a write-off. This isn't fearmongering, it's the reality we're facing. Feishu, a software office system under ByteDance, is reportedly conducting a large-scale layoff, affecting approximately 20% of its workforce, which will impact thousands of employees. In a report by the paper in Xi'an on March 26, the employees of Feishu received a company-wide message. In the message, the company stated, due to issues such as large team size, insufficient organization efficiency, decreased productivity, and lack of focus, the company has decided to make some adjustments and appropriately streamline the team size. Feishu peaked at 6,000 to 8,000 employees in 2022. On March 26 of this month, an informed source told 21st Century Economic Report that Feishu currently has about 5,000 employees, and the layoff ratio this time is 20%. For employees who are laid off, Feishu has provided compensation plans and job transfer opportunities. ByteDance Feishu officially announced. The layoffs are expected to affect 1,000 people, as a company that promotes corporate office efficiency begins to address its own office efficiency issues. This round of layoffs has a unique and difficult-to-decipher significance, completely changing the algorithm for layoffs that was previously exclusive to the entire network. Previously, the so-called strategic and business announcements made by major companies during good economic times, which we believe to be the safest job prospects, are no longer secure. Feishu initially served as an internal communication tool for ByteDance. Since 2012, ByteDance has used various domestic and foreign office applications such as Skype, WeChat and WeChat Enterprise, Slack, and DingTalk. At the end of 2016, it decided to develop its own, and at the end of 2017, ByteDance began to use Feishu comprehensively, and it was officially open to the industry in 2019. In November 2021, ByteDance CEO Zhang Yiming announced the establishment of 6 business segments, namely Douyin, Dali Education, Feishu, Volcano Engine, Xi'an, and TikTok. Feishu's layoff of 20% can be seen how bad the IT environment is this year. So how should we deal with it? Hello everyone, I'm a programmer, and today I want to share with you a recent hot topic in the IT industry, which is Feishu's layoff of 20%. They actually have about 5,000 employees in total, which means they are going to lay off around 1,000 people. According to internal sources, because I previously interviewed at Feishu through a referral from a colleague's classmate, he said their department indeed had such a layoff. At that time, I felt quite good during the interview, but they said they wouldn't consider me because there was already a candidate in the group who had a similar experience. Of course, I don't deny that there might be some issues with my skills, but it might also be due to the impact of this layoff. I had my interview 2 weeks ago, and about this layoff, I feel like the IT environment in 2024 is really tough. According to Interface News, starting from 2022, business lines such as Feishu and TikTok have received layoff notices. At the same time, Tencent has also reported layoffs. On March 27, a netizen posted a message on a workplace content community stating that according to internal messages from relevant employees, a certain major company has begun layoffs, with a layoff ratio of 10% to 30%. According to the Southern Metropolis Daily Report, the PCG and CSIG business groups mentioned in the message are all business groups under Tencent. However, Tencent insiders pointed out that the message was not true. However, Tencent has previously reported layoffs several times. According to reports from Fast Technology, Tencent's Q1 2023 financial report shows that as of March 31, 2022, Tencent had 116,213 employees. As of December 31, 2022, this number was 108,436, and as of March 31, 2023, this number dropped to 106,221. From the data, from March 31, 2022 to March 31, 2023, Tencent reduced its workforce by almost exactly 10,000 employees, a decrease of 8.6%. Pei Minxin, a professor of Chinese politics and issues, said that the Chinese government can reduce the alienation of Sino-Western relations by stabilizing the geopolitical tensions involving the country. However, considering the recent trend of economic decoupling, it is unlikely that the situation of talent outflow will be reversed. It's not just foreign business executives and tourists who feel that China has lost its charm. Even students from developed countries don't want to study in China anymore. Diplomats analyzed why China is no longer attractive to foreign students. According to a report by the People's Political Consultative Conference held this month, Professor Jia Qinghua of Peking University pointed out that the policies related to the study in China brand promoted by Xi Jinping seem to have not produced substantive results. The number of international students studying in China, especially from the United States, has decreased from its peak of about 15,000 students 10 years ago to about 350 students in 2023. Why has the number of international students decreased? Jia Qinghua listed 3 possible reasons. First is the perception issue. In short, foreign students generally believe that studying in China is not very meaningful. Additionally, obtaining funding from the Chinese Ministry of Education for studying in China is not only difficult but also potentially dangerous. The second reason is that foreign companies have reduced their business operations in China due to the deterioration of the Chinese economy. This means that internships or similar opportunities for foreign students have decreased. The third reason is the ideological factor in China. There is increasing uncertainty about the anonymous review of papers written by foreign students. Additionally, the lack of detailed implementation guidelines for China's espionage law has made the standards for illegality unclear, leading to misunderstandings in China. It is currently unclear whether students from developed countries will choose to study in China again. If the Chinese government believes that despite crackdowns, foreigners and funds will still be attracted to China, then reality proves this wrong. Recently, Japanese media Kyodo News reported that a Chinese professor teaching at Kobe University in Japan disappeared after returning to Beijing in early March to visit family. At this moment, the number of people disappearing in China for reasons of national security, including those of foreign nationality, is increasing. Coupled with the decline in the Chinese economy, despite Xi Jinping's personal involvement, who dares to enter China either as a foreigner or with foreign funds? While Xi Jinping meets multinational CEOs in Beijing, in Hong Kong, 23 new measures are rapidly enacted, reflecting the characteristic mix of both CCP and Xi Jinping styles. However, for foreign businesses and investments that prioritize certainty, this creates uncertainty. At this moment, Hong Kong resembles Nanjing in 1949, with the Yangtze River surging. Whether to stay or leave becomes a question. Firstly, the Wall Street Journal observes the impact of the 23 measures from the perspective of Hong Kongers. The headline reads, "Bookstores closed, shows cancelled, Hong Kong descends into sad silence." The report indicates that with China's authoritarian rule tightening its grip on this once bustling metropolis, every corner of society is affected. Bookstores are closing, shows are being cancelled, and the once rallying voices against the government now whisper behind closed doors. The recently enacted 23 measures impose harsher penalties for incitement-related offenses and introduce new charges related to state secrets and foreign interference. This legislation, swiftly passed by the Hong Kong Legislative Council with the approval of the Chinese government, has sparked debates about whether people will get into trouble for minor offenses. For instance, some wonder if keeping old pro-democracy newspapers scattered around the house might lead to trouble. The vice chairman of the Social Democratic Alliance, Chow Ka-fai, remarked that as more unwritten rules emerge, citizens become increasingly unsure of how to behave, forced to silently bear the burden. The Social Democratic Alliance is one of the few remaining pro-democracy groups in Hong Kong. The police have urged taxi drivers to report anyone they suspect of being involved in violence, terrorism, or other crimes. They have also established a hotline for reporting national security-related information, receiving hundreds of thousands of messages so far. Several independent bookstores renowned for supporting freedom of speech have stated that they are subjected to frequent government inspections regarding various matters, including land use regulations and the clear display of business licenses. In the Hong Kong arts scene, a series of dance and theater performances have been cancelled by organizers or venues, sometimes without explanation. Members participating in these performances are well-known pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong. Public funding for Hong Kong's oldest theater awards has also been reduced. The Financial Times analyzed how the 23 measures have affected the confidence of foreign businesspeople in Hong Kong. The report stated that in Hong Kong, the US-based law firm Reed Smith is preventing its lawyers from using international databases. Deloitte and KPMG require employees to carry disposable phones when visiting Hong Kong. Several other multinational companies are discussing whether to take similar measures. A consultant based in Hong Kong stated, "There are so many uncertainties now. People are unsure what actions carry risks." In terms of data security, is Hong Kong considered part of China? No one knows. The recently enacted 23 measures aim to expand the definition of state secrets, including data related to the economic, social, or technological developments of Hong Kong or mainland China. A senior foreign banker remarked, "In the past, people like me who were completely indifferent to politics always felt completely safe. I thought they would leave me alone because I wasn't involved in any political activities. But now I'm not so sure." Many companies in Hong Kong conduct due diligence. If one of them annoys someone, what will be the consequences? Recently, bankers have been asking whether foreign nationals in Hong Kong will face travel bans, similar to what some executives experience on the Chinese mainland, especially if they handle sensitive information about Chinese companies in due diligence projects. Stephen Roach, former chairman of Morgan Stanley Asia, wrote in an article for the Financial Times, "Hong Kong is finished, and it saddens us. It took only a few years to destroy the Oriental Pearl built over a century. The 23 measures are the last straw that broke Hong Kong's back and probably the final blow to the confidence of foreign businesses and investments in China. Will foreign businesses buy into it? Leave your comments in the section below.